when it turned out that Blake's plan was not working, Taylor and her team managed to swiftly and subtly pull her out to separate her brand from Blake so that she would not get taken down with her. So much for firepower, so much for BFFs taking the world together. As soon as it started to fail, she was out.
I could easily argue that Justin Baldoni was a perfect gentleman to Blake Lively, right? But she's still trying to destroy him anyway. This girl was so upset that she decided not to be my bridesmaid and essentially tried to sabotage my wedding.
Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, welcome to the Cherry Jasmine Show. We are
Cherry B.
and I am Xavia Jazmine. We are sister-in-laws and friends, and we talk about everything under the sun, and we would like to open that discussion up to you. So, what are we talking about today, Cherry B?
Today, we are going to talk about the fact that there are so many women in this world that are seeking to destroy you for no reason. And we really wanted to get into a conversation today, specifically about women who explain that they don't necessarily get along with other women. And it's not because they're horrible people. It's not even because they don't have friends. It's because there are so many women in the world who are crazy. And a perfect example of this is Taylor Swift and her BFF, Blake Lively, who decided to take down Justin Baldoni for no reason. So basically, for those who don't know, a while back, Justin Baldoni did a film with Blake Lively called It Ends With Us, I think. And to cut a long story short, it was his film. Blake Lively tried to take over the film, right? And in order to take over the film, she had to besmirch his name and essentially slander his character and say that he sexually harassed her and all these things that have obviously come out to be lies. Little did Blake know, Justin had a billionaire backer, and essentially he not only stood his ground and fought for his movie, but he countersued her and basically was saying, just exposed the fact that she's lying. Now, because of the court case that's going ahead, all of their text messages have been revealed where they're calling, as in Taylor and Blake Lively are calling Justin Baldoni a bitch. They are literally calling him a clown. It's very clear that Blake decided to take this man down for no reason. It's very clear that Taylor helped her. Allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly because I don't want to get sued, right? But the messages are there, right? And it just brought us to a wider conversation of why women are like this. And in fact, not even why women are like this. I just want to acknowledge that this is a real thing, right? I have heard so many women over the years saying they don't really like having too many female friends. And it's not that they don't like other women. It's that there are so many crazy women who will stab you in the back, destroy you for no reason, have problems with you overall in general. And I think now, because this is happening on such a public stage and it's happening to Justin Baldoni, who did nothing wrong, it's more apparent, right? But this literally happens with women of all races, of all creeds, all around the world. Abba and Preach literally just did a video not too long ago about a girl who came out and basically said that her and a few of her friends decided to go to this club. They were expecting to get in free, right? And essentially their friend who was plus size, now we don't know how plus size, but their friend who was plus size, they were saying, no, you can all get in for free, but the friend has to come in for $300. So you would think, okay, either we need to split up this $300 or we need to go to another club. They decided to essentially argue about this for 2 hours, only to come to the conclusion that they should send the fat friend home. And I'm saying the fat friend, she said plus size, so we don't actually know how fat she was, right? She could have just not looked like the other one. It's wild because you're going out as a group. So a normal group of girlfriends, and I've actually had experiences like this where I've been with groups of girls where one girl couldn't get in and all of us were like, okay, we'll go somewhere else, or okay, we'll pay for that friend, or we'll fight for that friend, right? But we're not just going to leave her, right? But there are so many women who will just leave their friend, who will stab their friend in the back, who will talk about you. Friends who literally you have done nothing to. In fact, more than nothing, you have gone out of your way to be a good friend to this person, and they just drag you down. They drag you through the filth. Like, I could easily argue that Justin Baldoni was a perfect gentleman to Blake Lively, right? But she's still trying to destroy him anyway. So I don't know. I want you guys to tell us what you think. Tell us what your experiences have been with women who have just betrayed you for no reason, because this is a real thing, and it's not just happening with Taylor Swift and Blake Lively. It's happening across womanhood, right? And so please, we would love to know what you think. Xavia, Jazmine, please tell me. I know you have had some experiences. What do you think about this situation?
Well, Terry. Let me just go in chronological order so I don't lose myself, because there's so many things. So many things. So, first of all, I just wanted to add, like, for those who don't know, the reason why Taylor Swift magically came into this is because Taylor is Blake Lively's friend. Allegedly she had nothing to do with it in the beginning, and then all of a sudden it turns out that Blake was always trying to take Justin Baldoni down, and it turned
allegedly.
out allegedly all alleged, and then it turned out allegedly that this whole time Taylor was actually communicating with Blake to take him down, including the name calling, and Blake referring to her husband and Taylor as her dragons, if I've got that the right way around, because she knows that those two people are her superstar firepower to take this man down. That was her plan, allegedly.
And she's the Khaleesi. So I'm the star. These are the people that are going to attack you for me.
Exactly. So if you are Game of Thrones fans, if you remember that series from back in the day, then you know that's a very powerful trio, or, well, technically there was 4 of them because you're 3 dragons, but it's a very powerful team and a very powerful set, and it changed the world in Game of Thrones. So that's the same effect that Blake Lively allegedly was planning to have with her best friend and with her husband. The reason why we frame this around Taylor is because when it turned out that Blake's plan was not working, Taylor and her team managed to swiftly and subtly pull her out to separate her brand from Blake so that she would not get taken down with her. So much for firepower, so much for BFFs taking the world together. As soon as it started to fail, she was out, because all she cared about at the end of the day was her brand. If I'm not going to be successful in helping you to take this guy down, then I'm not going to go down with you when it fails. So that is why we are sort of highlighting Taylor in this, because you were so strong on the text, but then now that things are coming out and you can't save your friend, you're just gonna jump ship. As for the girl in the club, the thing that fascinated me about that story is that this woman was upset at her friend, the plus size friend. Not only did the other friends decide to send the plus size friend home, but instead of splitting the $300 to get her in or to go to another club together, they decided that they could pay for her cab home. So they're not even saying we don't have any money at all. They're saying we have money to send you home. We just don't have money to keep you with us because we want the free experience staying out. And bear in mind, this is for New Year's Eve. This is for the New Year's countdown. So it's a special occasion. And if it's that special to you as girlfriends, wouldn't it be special? Wouldn't it be more important that you can share this, milestone, this special occasion with your entire friendship group, rather than just wanting to have the occasion for your own social media posts, whether or not your friend is there? And the reason why the plus size friend said, I'm getting in that cab, but once I get in that cab, we're not friends anymore. And the one making the video was upset at that. Watching Abram Preach react to that was so refreshing.
She turned to me and says, I'll get in that Uber, but once I do, we are not friends anymore.
Yes! Yes!
Nah.
You're saying that like she's the crazy one.
Well, I mean, I'd have been like, thank you for the Uber. We definitely not friends. Just asking. Just asking is crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Cut all them off.
Because I think the majority of us, and when I checked the comments, I was right. The majority of us are going, you are the monster. The plus size friend was right to break ties with you, because what she realized in those 2 hours of your deliberating whether she's worth $300 or spending New Year's Eve with you, she realized she don't mean nothing to you. So who knows how much time she's wasted, how much energy she's wasted putting into, as Cherry said, she could have been going above and beyond, trying to be the best friend she could to this group of girls, and then realize that she's not even worth New Year's Eve for them. She's not even worth $300. She's not even worth changing the plans and just going to another club that could have ended up better. We never know. And the story of selfishness within friendship groups, especially female friendship groups, is just astounding. And one thing that Cherry and I have realized, because Cherry and I are sister-in-laws, and I say sister-in-laws and friends in our intro, and I mean it, and it's hilarious because we were friends before we were sister-in-laws, and even that was a shock to both of us, because we had both been burned so much by female friendships. And when we say burned, it's not just New Year's Eve. This is like you give them a chance, and you give them a chance, and you give them a chance, and we do what everyone else does. Maybe they're just hormonal, maybe they're just having a bad day, maybe it's boy trouble, maybe, I know that they went through that, a few weeks ago, so maybe it's just a bit of that. They're going through a lot. I'm gonna give them grace, because I would want them to do the same for me. And then you realize after like the 10th situation that seems a bit too coincidental, that it's not a coincidence, that they don't value you. They value that you will stick around. They value that you'll take their nonsense and stick around and make excuses for them and still take their abuse or their neglect and their dismissiveness, but they won't ever go, oh my gosh, this is such a good friend, I'm gonna pay it back and actually be a good friend to them.
Be kind, be nice,
be loyal, be kind, stick up for them. If someone else is getting at them, I'm gonna jump in and save them. If someone else is trying to exclude them from something, I'm gonna stand up. No. So my experiences, I have a specific one that comes to mind. At a certain point, I had a friendship group that was quite large, 8 girls, including myself. And I actually never wanted a friendship group that large, because I don't personally believe that unless every single one of you is so attached to each other, I didn't see the genuineness in it. And that was a sort of thing that kind of was a running theme every time I spent time with these girls, because it was true. There were cliques. In a group that big, you do naturally have cliques of people that are closer to each other. And so I was unofficially the glue in the friendship group, only because I was close to one person in each of the cliques. And so because I was close to one person in each of the cliques, we just all ended up being together all the time. And so I'm sure many of you, even guys, have friendship groups like that, where you have your best friend and, a mutual friend who has a mutual friend. And so you're always together because you generally get along, but you don't really care for the other person, the other mutual friend. You're just there for your core. And so at one point, one of the newest members, should I say, of our friendship group ended up being one of the closest to me, and she was at some point someone I would consider my best friend. It got to a certain point though where her ambitions took over, and I appreciated that, because I was like, you be an ambitious girl, you go for what you want, you work hard. And when she started being distant, I understood. I was like, you're very busy, and if I can support you, I can and I will, let me know. And she was like, cool. And then she disappeared. And I'm like, okay, she's doing her thing. But then it got to a point where, in order for her to follow her ambitions, it, in her mind, required her stepping on me. It required her almost erasing me in terms of relevance in her life. It would get to the point where it actually, even saying hello and having even just a small talk conversation was too much for her, because she was busy and she had to run around and do this and that.
I think
And
she was jealous of you. That's what I think personally. Like, I
you know
think a
what?
lot of girls are jealous of other girls, and it's like, why are you my friend? Why are you saying you're my friend? Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I
And it's
think it was
funny
a
to me
jealousy thing.
because probably, but it's funny to me because we're all teenagers at that point, and especially for me, I had confidence in certain areas, but generally speaking, I was a very laid back person. I didn't care for drama. I didn't care for any kind of attention. I actually actively tried to avoid it, and I probably downplayed a lot of my skills because I just didn't want the spotlight. And that's not even being proud. That's me being lazy. That's me being lazy and just wanting to be in my little hovel, um, which I now have as an adult, which is great. But the thing that did get to me, and maybe it was, but she was a very outspoken person. She was liked as far as I know. But long story short, it gets to a point where I had to confront the situation because what was happening was that whilst my relationship was just disintegrating with my best friend, the wider friendship group was all also disbanding, but without a word, silently disbanding. And it's like no one wanted to admit that it was happening. And I sort of put it to the group. I was like, what's happening? Are we just disappearing from each other? And it's like the entire group was more upset that I was calling out the fact that we were falling apart rather than actually addressing the fact that either we were falling apart or we were never close in the first place. And I watched every single one of them turn against me at one point or another, even though I'd done nothing to them personally, every single one of them. And even my so-called best friend, who we did completely fall out by that point, after a few months we did come back and speak, and she couldn't actually give me a reason why she treated me that way. She had to just apologize because it's like, I don't actually know. I was so focused on this that I didn't think of you. I didn't realize it was that deep. And then it just was, and we just weren't together anymore. And I'm like, So,
And you know what? I have to say, I think women generally have a problem being held accountable for their behavior. And so if you are the type of female friend who wants to grow as a person and who wants to be accountable for your behavior and who wants their friends to be accountable for their behavior, you can end up being a target, right? And it's interesting because you're talking about your experiences in your teenage years. Well, we not only had these experiences in our teenage years, but as adults, we had experiences.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to tell a very quick story of me being an adult now. And this was not like, this was not a little thing. So I had a friend, I had known this friend from primary school. We went to the same primary school together, the same secondary school together. We lost contact for a little bit, came back into contact as adults, right? And this particular friend was in a very bad situation when we got back together as friends. And essentially, in a nutshell, I encouraged this girl. I helped her to be, the best version of herself. And I thought she was doing the same for me. I helped her to have a place to live. I helped her to find a husband. Like, I literally introduced her to her husband and told her husband to speak to her, right? I essentially helped her and encouraged her to have friends in our church. And then she got married. She got married before I got married. And so she asked me to plan her wedding and she asked me to be her maid of honor. And I was so obviously grateful and privileged. I asked her, whatever you want, I will do for you. I did all of those things. And then 2 years later, after her marriage, I ended up getting engaged. And to cut a long story short, it just so happened that there were three dates that we could get married, and they gave us a discounted price for the venue we wanted to get married on the day that she had got married 2 years previously, right? So me and this girl were super good friends. This was not like, at this point we were like sisters, right? Because we had been through so much together. And so my husband was like, look, let's just book the date. If we can change it, if we need to change it, right? But let's speak to them and ask permission, to make sure that they're okay with this. Bear in mind, we're all adults. This is 2 years after they've been married. We shouldn't even need their permission. But we went and spoke to them anyway, right? Spoke to them, told them, this is what happened. This is why we picked the date. They offered us a discount on this particular date. Are you guys okay with this? They were like, of course, yes, we're happy for you. Da, 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 da. This girl was secretly furious and I did not know. Yeah. Bear in mind, I helped you get a place to live. I helped you, with church, helped you get a husband, but all of these things. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm just saying it because just to put into perspective
I've
how
done so
close we
much
were as
for
friends
you.
and how much
Yeah.
I've done for you, right?
Yeah. How much
This
you're willing
girl
to do
was
for her.
so upset. And bear in mind, I asked her to be a bridesmaid in my wedding also, right? And this girl was so upset that she decided not to be my bridesmaid and essentially tried to sabotage my wedding because of the date that we decided to get married, that we asked for permission to do that, and she said was fine. And I'm saying all of this to say the main thing that to me I've noticed as just a general human being on this earth is that it's not an age thing, it's a woman thing. And it's not, and don't get me wrong, we obviously are friends. Xavia, Jazmine, and I are obviously friends, but we were so suspicious of each other when we first met because we had been through so many crazy scenarios, right? That it was like, are you one of the crazies? Like, do I need to twitch my eye and look at you? Yeah, because there was so much damage by the time we met each other that we just were suspicious. We were like, are you insane? And it's only now, years later, that we know, okay, we're good,
And you know what?
It took so much to get to that.
It did take so much, and that's what I was gonna add is that in the beginning we were very suspicious, and for a few years there was still a level of suspicion, not so much of each other, but the commitment to each other as friends, because we started getting along so quickly that we were still suspicious, but we were also enjoying the fact that we were that close and that we could get along that well. And then
and we both realized that you can be friends with someone for years and then all of a sudden it just breaks down. So
right, exactly, because a lot of these friendships, these examples that we're talking about, friends for years, almost decades, in fact for Cherry over a decade of close friendship, where you're hoping that the feeling is mutual and the loyalty is mutual and the willingness to do, go step out for one another is mutual. And then you see them do one too many things when they're willing to stab you in the back blatantly. And so for us, it was very gradual, especially when we would have, disagreements or, we wouldn't see eye to eye. It was especially at those points where we would sort of question, okay, is the friendship over? Because with other girls, that was too much. That was it. That was what broke. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. But for us, we kept seeing the value in each other because we were both willing to give each other that loyalty that we were looking for, that we kind of expected in any other friendship that claims to be a best friendship or a genuine friendship. So that grew. And then of course a couple of years later she got close to my brother. I introduced them. She always blames me for that, but
I do blame you for that.
But I'm fortunately very close to my brother as well, because it's just me and him and we're quite close in age. So fortunately we were very close. Cherry and I were very close, and then for some strange reason they got along smashingly well as well. And so we surprisingly, again, because a lot of the time a friend getting with a sibling can break up the friendship, but for us, and this is why I fully believe in Jesus and why I fully believe that Jesus was rooted in our relationship, because there were so many things that could have broken us up, but the Lord just gave us the right attitude to have and gave us personalities that merged so well together that we just continued to get along. We continued to be strong. And now that we are sister-in-laws, and that Cherry has my favorite niece, she's my only niece, but she's my favorite niece, we're just all the closer for it. And that friendship has continued genuinely, because at this point we still could be sister-in-laws that hate each other, because as we know, that's very common as well. And we know some people close to us that have relationships like that.
Absolutely.
But we don't. And which is why I'll just say to anyone out there who knows exactly what we're talking about, pray over your relationships. If you don't know the Lord, then I encourage you to get to know him, to find out about him, find a Bible-based church, find a community of people who are living by the word of God,
who are like-minded.
You see it in their actions as well, not just what they say, but actually what they do. Because Cherry and I both prayed over over our relationships as time went on. And one thing that was very hard, well, it got easier as time went on, but one thing that was hard for us to do, that we got used to doing, was praying, Lord, if this person in my life is not for me, remove them. And for some reason, he never removed Cherry. She's still here. I don't know why.
Still here. Yeah.
But he did. He removed a lot of other people, but kept us together and kept us close and enabled us to be able to. Because I'm not saying that we've never had issues. We've had plenty of disagreements.
We've had
in fact,
many,
now it's quite
many. In fact, we
entertaining.
scream at each other all the time.
We do. It's quite entertaining. Now, instead of it being a tense, serious situation, we just kind of scream at each other, and it really is entertaining. And actually, both my brother and my husband, now that I'm married, just kind of look at us like, why are they so crazy? But it's great. It's fine. We're completely normal. But honestly,
normal.
completely. But no, honestly, but that's why we say pray about your relationships, because what God did is remove from us all of those toxic. He first showed us black and white, clear as day, what those friendships really were, what those friends were really like, what their true intentions were towards us and towards the friendship. And then he removed them and gave us a chance to detach from them emotionally, because you do what you want, the friends that are like sisters, you want that sisterhood, and a lot of the time it's a mirage. But
it's not real.
It's not real. But when it is real, it's something very valuable and something that is worth praying about, because God is the one that helps you maintain those relationships genuinely and helps prevent you from doing the toxic things that break down relationships for good. So, Jerry, was there anything else?
I will just say very quickly, because this is an edit in afterwards. Our friendship for me has been so vital, just because not only has it helped to build me as a person, to make me stronger as a Christian and as a woman, but it has genuinely been one of the best things in terms of my development as an adult. And the correct friendship can help you to develop in your gifting, your calling, and your purpose. And 100%. That is what friendship is supposed to be. And if you don't have that, you need to get rid of those friends and get friends in who can help you to do that, right?
Yep.
And so I think because of the fact that Xavia, Jazmine, and I really understand each other well, spiritually, as well as, and my doorbell rang again, it's a good thing. So yes, I'm gonna go, guys. This is an add-in. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, we have said a lot, and we would love to know what you think about Taylor, about toxic female friendships, and we'd love to know your stories as well about friendships that aren't toxic and how you were able to distinguish them from the toxic ones. So let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe, guys, because we love to see you and to know that you're there, and we'll shout you out once we see you. So we will see you in the next one. As you say, we talk about everything under the sun, so we will be back soon. Bye.